Hi, this is Jimmy Shaw, and today I'm going to go over what I think is probably the hardest thing for most golfers to do, and that is to consistently hit their long irons well. So, long irons to me, and how I'm going to classify them as, a 6 iron to 4 iron. The main reasons why I believe that players in general have a difficult time with long irons is a few things. One, speed. You've got to have a lot of speed to get the ball up in the air. With a long iron, you're not going to have as much spin as you would a mid or short iron. So we need height. Height is usually, when dealing with irons, going to be associated with speed, backspin, and the like. So let's go over the reasons why the makeup of the long iron makes it difficult to hit compared to the other irons. One, it's longer, so it's got a flatter lie angle. Okay. Number two, there's not nearly as much loft. I mean, this is my 5 iron at 23 degrees. When you have less loft, it's going to obviously make the ball go less high, but it's also going to give you more side spin. And the side spin is when it starts to really go left to right for a righty and right to left for a lefty. So we don't have as much loft, which again hinders our ability to get it up in the air. Lastly, if we look at the 5 iron here, when I set up with the 5 iron and then I set up with an 8 iron, you can see the makeup is there's not as much shaft lean with a 5 iron as I do with a 8 iron. Okay, so when I come over here to the ball and I square up an 8 iron, if I were to lay that 5 iron down on the same angle in the same way, you can see how it's open. Okay, not only that, but I've de-lofted it quite a bit, which is going to make it very difficult to get the ball up in the air. So we have to have a little bit different swing thought in the transition to get the ball up in the air. So let's go over how we're going to hit the long irons more consistently. And if you haven't seen my video on hitting the ball higher, go back and watch that. That's a very good video, and mainly 90% of what we're going to do today is in that video. So when we set up to it, do a couple of things. We're going to get the ball a little bit closer to shoulder width apart like we would with a wood or in a driver. We're also going to put the ball more closely aligned with our lead side. Remember, it has less loft, which is going to produce more side spin. It also has less built-in shaft lean. So we don't have that little extra time to square up the face like we do with the mid-iron. So I've got to build it in and give myself a little lead time by moving it up. I also want to shallow the club out, get it at a much flatter attack angle, closer to 0-0 as I can, because we don't have as much loft. And so we don't have as much spin. So we got to get the ball up in the air. For most players, they don't have enough speed to hit down on it to generate enough spin and enough speed to get the ball airborne. So we need to get it closer to 0. So I'm going to move it up. I'm going to give myself that spine tilt away from the target. I'm going to still make my good turn, making sure I load and get back into my right side. Now from here, this is when my swing thought changes a little bit. I've talked a lot about getting into that lead side, creating a pivot, and then coming through. And I am not discounting that. We still are going to do that because that's going to help us launch the ball up in the air, just like when we were hitting it high. But the one thing I'm going to do, that I'm going to make sure and do a little bit earlier, is I'm going to feel the club release. Now, you can see this angle that I've created in the backswing in my trail hand. Okay? I don't want to release the radius of my forearm out here because that would be a cast. Now I'm going to come away from it and cut across it, hit off the toe, it's going to go nowhere. No, I want to feel myself release that angle earlier. Now it's a feel, it's not reality. I'm not literally going to be doing this before I get to impact. If I've done the right things in my golf swing in the earlier clubs, I'm still going to be driving into that left side. I just have to keep that club out in front, and I've got to get that toe to start squaring up and rotating through, or if I hold on to it too long, low right, and it's going to slice. So let's go through that, set up to it, a little bit more forward than I'm accustomed to, a little bit of spine tilt. I get back, good turn, release it from the top. Nice and high. little bit of draw on it. Flow out there really nice. Good launch angle. So when you're playing long irons, again, we're going to try to hit them high. We don't have as much spin, so we can get them out there and let them float. Shaft tilt away. Good turn going back. Then from here, we're going to release the angle that we've created in the trail hand at the top. Feel like we release it a little bit earlier so we can get a little bit shallower, rotating that club through, send it up in the air. So that's how we hit our long irons much more consistently. If you have any other questions, please comment. Please send me an email, get in touch with me. Let me know how I can help you in any way.